Hi, welcome back to All About Weddings. My name's Bill and I'm part of the team here at Ridgeway. So we're one of the busiest UK wedding venues. We do nearly 200 weddings a year, and we've started a video series called Insider Pro Tips: How to Plan Your Wedding. So with over 1,000 weddings under our belt, we've got the best wedding planners on our team, and they've learned so many things along our journey, and we want to share them with you. So welcome to this first part. Inside Pro Wedding Planning Tips. Enjoy. So let's get into it. Congratulations on getting engaged. Now the fun really begins, especially when it comes to finding your perfect wedding venue. Today we're talking about planning your first visit to a venue. Why we're making this video? Because last Saturday we had 14 first viewings. Let me share you some of the experiences the couples had. First one, wanted a specific date. They hadn't checked our availability. They came to the venue and unfortunately we couldn't help them. They were a little bit disappointed. Second one, they wanted 200 people at their wedding. We only hold 100. They hadn't checked our capacity. Again, they felt that they wasted their time. Best one couple thought when they came, they had a food tasting. They wanted to taste all the menus. Well, that doesn't happen on our first viewing. So we made them a sandwich and actually they went out and booked their wedding. So that was good fun. But always worth checking what your venue has to offer, all the details before you actually go and waste time on venues that aren't going to fit your bill. So we've put together some questions that we think you should ask yourselves before you visit. You don't have to remember these. At the end, in the link below, we've got a full list of these and you can download them, print them off as many times as you can. So question one, what's your budget? Now this is the big question. It's very important to be realistic. Think about all the costs. In the description, we've got a budget calculator where we list all the things that we think that you need to consider. And obviously the venue is just one of those. So, keep that in mind. Ask your venue about hidden costs. Are there anything that, that they're not being open about? Lots of venues have extras that they don't advertise. So just be careful and ask for, to be as transparent as possible. It's a really good idea to ask for a quote for the full wedding before you go, so you really do know what to what to expect. Lots of venues won't do that; they want to sell when you get there, which is fine. That's okay as long as you know what to expect when you get there. But just be careful. Another thing that we think is important is that don't raise your expectations too high. So if you're going to look at massive venues with huge costs, it might be lovely to explore and find out what's out there. But if it's outside your budget, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed, and you'll feel you've settled on second best. So just be careful of raising expectations. Question two: what's the size of your guest list? Crucial. Think about it before you go. There's three parts to a wedding. Well, there's three parts to one of our weddings. You've got the ceremony, if you're getting married with us. You've got your three-course meal, or often referred to as wedding breakfast. Lots of people ask, why is it called a wedding breakfast? And it goes back to the 17th century when the couples used to fast before getting married, and this was their first meal. So the first meal is being married is often the wedding breakfast. It's really not egg and bacon. Be as accurate as you can. Think about the capacity for each part that your venue has. So, like I say, one, the ceremony itself. Some ceremony rooms only have a small number of seats and people have to stand. We can seat 80. And then if there's more than that, people are standing at the back, which is okay. But you do need to be aware of that. So ask that question. The three-course meal, how many seats around the table? Are you crammed in? We can get 10. Some bigger tables, 12, 14. Maybe you don't want to fill the tables up though. So think about that. Think what the capacity for the three-course meal is. And lastly, the disco and party in the night. Have they got enough room for that? So big question to ask. Whilst we're talking about capacity, it's not a bad thing to think about who you're inviting for the day and who for the evening, or is everybody coming to everything? There's usually a much higher charge for day guests than evening. So a way of saving money, inviting more people to the evening than the actual daytime. Keep it to close family for the day and save some money. Just a thought. Question three, What's the venue's availability? We've got a public calendar that you can have a look at and see what we've got available. Um, some venues don't, but phone up if you've got a specific date. If that's a must-have, find out if it's available before you go. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting your journey. So, are you flexible? Can you change that date? Would you consider going off season? Ask if the venue offers discounts for low season dates, weekdays. Many venues do. We certainly do. We have offers on all the time. So definitely ask that question. The key dates, the Saturdays in the main summer, book up really fast. So think about, well, if you want one of those key dates, be ready to book it there and then. It's very important. Not a bad idea to ask if the date's not available, does your venue have a cancellation list? Would they give you a ring if that date suddenly becomes available? Worth asking. Question 4. Can you actually get married at your venue? Do you want to get married at your venue? Some venues aren't licensed, and in fact, when we started, we couldn't actually hold the ceremonies there. People got married in a registry office first. They'd come to us for a fake ceremony and then have the meal and the party. So check with the venue that they are able to actually marry you. And also, we always suggest speak to the registrars, ring the local registry office, see if there's any specific requirements for that area. They're a great source of information, and they'll really help you. Another question: where will your ceremony take place? Do you want an inside or outside ceremony? And is there a backup if the weather doesn't cooperate? So we've got that facility in Ridgeway. We can do inside or out. We always lay for both. So if it suddenly starts raining, we can flip everybody inside, and we've done that many times. One of the questions you've got to ask is if it is switched and it is an inside, what's it going to look like? Is it pretty still? Have you got room for photos? Are there areas to get the full group in? So definitely something to think about. Question 5. How far are you willing to travel? You've got to think about where your guests will be coming from. Are there train stations? Are there hotels nearby? Is it easy to get to? Do you need sat-nav to find your venue? Is it accessible if you've got guests with accessibility issues? Think about all of those things before you make your decision. Question 6. I just mentioned accommodation. Now, we don't have any accommodation at Ridgeway, so that's not suitable for some people. They want to stay on site, and it's much cozier and a nicer experience if you can. Luckily, we've got hotels really close by, so that's a question to ask. Can you stay at your venue or at the very least nearby? Check. Some of the hotels have their own weddings there. We experience this problem, so some of our brides will try and book a hotel close by to us. They won't let them because they've got a wedding of their own, so always check that. Another thing to ask is, have they got a room for the bride to change and have some quiet time? It's always a nice to have. Unfortunately, we don't have that, but ask your venue if that's available. Question 7, really big one. What's on your must-have list? I'm going to include a list of things that we think that we've been asked over the years that, have you got this? We've said no, and that's the deal done. They don't want to come there because these are things that are absolutely crucial. So we've talked about the actual date that you want, the capacity. Are we within budget? Catering options. Do we provide Michelin star food? That sort of thing. So we've got a list of, I don't know, maybe 20 or so things printed out. Ask yourself, are any of these must-haves for you? And check with your venue. If you can be really flexible and you don't have any must-haves, then fine. But maybe you want your pet dog to walk you down the aisle. Yep. If they don't allow pets, that's a no-no. So check all these things. So there's a full list in the description. Print those out, and hopefully that will help you. So that leads on nicely to question 8. Are you flexible? Will you make compromises? Because truthfully, it's very hard to find a venue that's got all your must-haves. So there might be some things that you have to give in on. So ask yourself, are you flexible? And it's not going to lead to too many arguments. Weigh up the pros and cons of what you can have and what you can't. So question 9. This is an interesting one. What style of wedding do you want? Now, you may not know that. And if you don't, you're going to go and look at lots of different venues and lots of different styles. Marquees, barns, beachfronts, historic mansion houses, city hotels, vineyards. There's loads and loads. There's so many that you can choose from. Obviously, if you know what you want, it does make life a lot easier because you're only visiting. For example, we're a marquee, and people hopefully know that before they book, and then that's on their list of venues that they want to try. So try shortlisting. Um, but that having been said, sometimes it's fun just to go and look at everything and see what's out there, and that helps you make your mind up. Question 10. This doesn't apply to our venue, but some venues have multiple weddings. So how important is exclusivity to you? Do you mind having two weddings going on, or three sometimes, in the same venue? Inevitably, there's some crossover. Um, you might find the odd guest turning up at your wedding that you didn't invite. So if that is important to you, just check, will you be the only wedding going on in the venue at that time? Question 11. How much effort do you want to put into decorating the venue? Do you want to do things yourself? Do you want to part do things? Or do you want your venue to do the lot? So that's they're the sort of packages we offer at Ridgeway. We do it all for you, but we're quite happy if people want to dip their toe in and help, or if they want to bring another company in to do it. So ask about what your venue allows and what it doesn't allow. Have they got recommended suppliers? Have they got packages that cover it all? It's often quite cheaper to pick a package. It's certainly less stressful. But then again, if you enjoy doing things yourself, then make sure they allow you to do that. The final one, question 12. I say final. This is not an exhaustive list at all. It'll just help you. It's worth asking them what an example timeline for one of their typical weddings is. What time do you start? How long have you got the venue for? What time have you got to leave? Does that fit in with what you want for your guests? We shut at midnight, for example. Some venues 1 o'clock, some 2 o'clock. If you've got accommodation, it can go on right through the night. Some are very, very strict. So worth asking what an example timeline would be. That's about it for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sure if you ask yourself these questions before you go, you'll feel much more confident on your visit. It'll help you find the perfect place that suits you. So good luck with your wedding planning. Enjoy the journey and goodbye. See you in the next one.